Welcome, everybody, to Spirituality Adventures. This is a non-judgmental place to explore spirituality, and we're so glad you're here. This is a viewer and listener-supported podcast, so we greatly appreciate your support. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, share, and subscribe to any of the social media content platforms that you're using. And then if you go to our website, spiritualityadventures.com, you can make a one-time donation, or with a monthly subscription, you'll gain access to our bonus content. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome, everybody, to Spirituality Adventures. We're excited you're with us and joining us. We've got Dakota Ogden and Jordan Bardwell.
Sir.
And these guys have founded a nonprofit called Oscar Mike Overland. And I pulled their mission statement off their website. I want to read it to you, and then I'm going to let you guys explain where the name Oscar Mike comes from. All right?
Okay.
But the mission statement is offering support to veterans by means of adventure therapy and getting them on the move. So I obviously liked the idea of adventure therapy because I started this thing called Spirituality Adventures. So I'm going, I like this already. I love adventure, and I love the mission statement. So tell us about, where does Oscar Mike come from? Is that a person's name? What is that?
It's a very common question. I get called Mike or Oscar a lot. It's kind of funny. A lot of my emails like, hello, Mike. And I'm like, it's not my name. So Oscar Mike, if you're familiar with the phonetic alphabet, Oscar and Mike are both in that alphabet, and they mean on the move. So like if you say, hey, I'm Oscar Mike, it means, hey, I'm on the move.
I didn't know
It's
that.
like the military way to say on the move.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where we tied in that on the move, at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then tell us about Overland. What does that represent?
Overlanding, I don't know, it's kind of a blanket term. It's really...
I'm an overlander.
Yeah. It's kind of developed over the years. I think for me, though, overlanding would be, like just vehicle-based travel and adventure. Some people backpack and they bike or, hike. Yep. And overlanding, I think, is the blanket term for just like, this is my interpretation, but for vehicle-based travel and adventure.
So it's not necessarily off-road, or is it off-road?
I don't like it when it's on pavement.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I think a lot of people kind of think that it's, it must be just off-road, but it's really not. I mean, because a lot of times you're on pavement to get to where you're going to be, I guess, essentially off-roading and overlanding. But I think, like I said, I think the term overland is a very blanket term. I mean, because you could do a cross-country overland trip and just camp, but you're taking like main highways, and I guess that would essentially be considered overlanding.
Yeah.
But you seek those camping locations that are either off-grid or hard to get to. Mm-hmm. That's why you have a 4x4 vehicle or build it, essentially. Mm-hmm. So you guys are thinking of four-wheelers or are you thinking about off-road two-wheeling or enduro stuff, or just are you thinking mainly?
What we do is all like vehicle based, like actual, in fact, so there's 6 of us. We all drive a Toyota, and they're all 4x4. They're just built for dirt, and like being off
tool.
Pavement. Yeah,
our tool.
Is
our vehicle.
Yeah,
got our tent, kitchens, whatever you need to. Basically, it's just camping that is bougieed up. You want a nice hot dinner, nice safe space to sleep type thing. I don't know. We just like to hang out.
A little nicer than lightweight backpacking, but
yeah.
But although I did a lot of lightweight backpacking in the Rockies, and we would take a fly rod and catch cutthroat and throw that in the foil on the fire with a little bit of butter, and we'd bring a little bit of onion and potato, and man, that was like a feast up in the high mountains, So yeah. I love that kind of stuff. But yeah, you can bring some pretty hefty stuff with you when you got your four-wheeler going on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I've got a trailer as well, so we not only pack the truck full, but we also pack the trailer. Yeah. So
Yeah. So cool. So tell us a little bit about your backgrounds. Where did you guys grow up, and what kind of got you into this mission of Oscar Mike Overland? Give us your background story.
Go ahead.
So, born and raised in Kansas City, bounced around in foster care for the first 9 years of my life. Was in 9 different homes, 7 different schools. By the time I was 9, was adopted by my 3rd grade teacher at the time, now my mother. And moved out to Blue Springs, and then just, did sports, went to school, your typical kid. And then I've always been one for adrenaline. Mom always called me an adrenaline junkie. And then I just personally got into, I loved the look of Jeeps, when the JKs were out and stuff, when I was able to drive and stuff. So I told my dad I was going to save up, get a JK, never did. Then finally got a Tacoma and was like, oh, now I can. I always wanted to rock crawl, but that's expensive.
Yeah.
And so I did the next best thing, become an overlander. No. And so I just built my Tacoma up, and my wife and I just travel. So
Cool.
Nothing really got me into it besides YouTube videos of seeing people breaking rigs and doing crazy things. And I'm like, that looks exhilarating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I do crazier things on my mountain bike than I do on my Rubicon. I'm pretty tame, I think, when it comes to my off-roading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I still do, I do most of my stuff out in Colorado.
Yeah.
So I always get out there a couple times a year and hit some great, but nothing like I don't have a winch or, I'm not.
Do you camp?
I camp. Yeah.
Like, do you have like a rooftop tent, or are you just backpacking it?
I just,
like,
I don't really backpack hardly anymore. So I'll just set up a camp and set up a tent, that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's what I did the last time I was there in September. Just pulled up.
It was cold.
Well, I like it cold. Yeah. Got my goose down sleeping bag, and
Yeah.
I sleep outside. I usually always sleep under the stars.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's why I like it.
Hey.
Anyway.
You're up.
Oh, so I was born in Bonita, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Crazy town. So how everyone refers to it, because everyone knows the psych word down there.
He's an escapee. Don't let him fool you.
There's a Vineyard Church in Veneta,
Really?
and I've been there.
I'm sure my folks grew up in that region.
I bet I know the pastor.
So
It's hilarious.
So yeah.
But I also used to bass fish over at Grand Lake and stuff like that.
My grandparents had a house off Grand Lake, and I remember my first time ever fishing was off.
Yeah.
Or I guess was in Grand Lake.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff down there.
Yep. So from Oklahoma, moved up here. I think I was in like 3rd grade. Lived most of my life in Platte City. Got into overlanding pretty much just, I would say similar to Jordan, like watching videos and just like seeing people like adventure and have fun. When I was growing up, we didn't go camping. I can remember my dad and my mom only taking me fishing like a handful of times growing up. So I don't think it was really like something I grew up with, but it was definitely something that I kind of fell in love with. And, I remember my first trip, I had no idea what I was doing, but I definitely knew that I loved doing it. And then I've kept on doing it since. So I don't have any background in overlanding or camping or necessarily outdoorsing too much. But just developed a love for it.
I didn't even
Pretty
think
much
about
as
that.
an adult.
My dad took me camping and on like fishing trips all the time. That's probably where it stemmed from.
I never went. Mine's all from
Picked
adulthood.
it up from adult. Yeah, cool. Well, it's fun to find a love that kind of makes you feel like a kid again sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I
For sure.
love that kind of stuff. Well, so both. So you guys, neither one of you are military vets.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
but your mission is very focused on supporting veterans.
Right.
So where does that come from? Why is that a passion?
I think that whole ideal came from going on trips and then realizing that, hey, this is like therapeutic. This is so much fun, and then just that kind of transpired into the thought of, why don't we turn this into a mission where we can like give this experience to somebody else who may not be as fortunate to have this experience, or may not have the means, may not have the vehicle, or may not have the tent, or XYZ. So I think we just kind of discovered, hey, this has like a really therapeutic vibe to it. We can go out in the woods for a week and be off grid and not be bothered by necessarily like our phones or work or this or that, and it's relaxing, it's fun, it's enjoyable. You can hang out with your buddies and have a beer or whatever, eat what you want, pee where you want, do what you want, kind of deal. So I think we wanted to take that and just give back to the veteran community, just for the things that they have sacrificed and given up, for us. So we wanted to take our time and knowledge and stuff like that and give back to them.
And I'd say it also a lot stemmed with James coming back.
For sure.
About the time we decided to start doing this. So James is our veterans liaison. He's the military vet out of the 6 of us.
Okay.
And he was coming back.
So there's 6 of you guys that form Oscar Mike's.
Yep.
Yes.
100% volunteer guys.
Okay.
Yep. We're just the volunteer
You're the
team
founders.
members. Correct.
But you got 4 other guys that work with you, and one of them's a veteran.
Yes.
Correct.
And he was friends prior to Oscar Mike and all of that.
Okay.
And him coming back and, looking for a job and doing things, transitioning back into the regular life.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we were probably just all just hanging out, and he was just talking, and we were like, oh, it's one of our really good friends, so why not?
Is he a young guy like you?
How old is James? He's like 30.
He's like mid-30s.
Okay.
I think he did 20 years
26.
total.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
20-year guy?
Yeah.
What was he in? What branch?
Army. I don't want to necessarily speak for him, but I know he did 10 years in the Army and then 10 years like private security,
Okay.
like on bases and stuff out there.
Do tours in like Afghanistan or
Yes.
that kind of thing? Yeah.
So, yep.
So he was familiar with like PTSD stuff, all that kind of all the kind of stuff. Because I noticed on your website you list some of the suicide statistics for vets.
Right.
What did you say? What is it like?
It's 22 veterans a day.
22 a day.
Yes.
In America.
Correct.
Commit suicide.
That's the official number. Yeah.
Wow.
And so while our mission statement is, offering support to veterans by means of adventure therapy and getting them on the move, I think our like secondary goal is to like raise awareness of veteran suicide and like PTSD and like the reintegration into society when you come from, 5, 10, 20 years of being in the military. It's a whole different lifestyle. So there's a lot of like unseen, unthought about struggles when you're transitioning into a civilian life, and I think our kind of like side mission is to like bring awareness to that. Like, hey, this is happening, that, it's not necessarily like the forefront of everything, but we just want to bring some light to it.
Yeah.
And make veterans, better if we can.
Someone's got to speak up.
Yeah. Yeah. So you take your love for overlanding, you realize how therapeutic it is. Did you dig into the therapy side of it? Like, is there any kind of like official therapy models that you're trying to incorporate into this thing, or is it literally just the experience with the outdoors and getting people outdoors?
So it's the experience and getting them outdoors and kind of just building that relationship with somebody that needs somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like building, hey, come hang out with us, hang out. So we build that relationship with that person that they then feel like they have the ability to either reach out to us to where maybe we don't have the means to help them, but we do know other people and programs that can help.
Yeah.
And so just giving them somebody that they're comfortable enough to speak up about what's going on, so then they can find help.
Yeah.
Because it's probably not easy to come back and like say, hey, I need help, or if anyone listens. So if you build that personal relationship with them, then I feel like it's easier. So
how long are the trips that you usually take? How many trips are you doing a year?
I'd say our average trip is probably just going to be like a weekend trip, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of deal. Okay. We did do a big Texas trip down to Padre Island National Seashore. Say that twice as fast. We did that last year, I think in like March. That was like 9 days. It was long. Yeah. It was like 9 days.
Does your whole team go? All 6 of you guys?
It just depends. We all have full-time jobs. You know, we all have jobs outside of this. And so we just give what time that we have available to doing this. But you're calendaring these trips out. Correct.
And then how do veterans know about you? How do they get connected?
So we have all of our events listed up like on our website, OscarMikeOverland.org. We should have up by the end of this month, February, we should have all of our future events kind of planned out, and we'll release them as they come within like 2 or 3 months in advance, so people can kind of schedule. Like on our website, you just fill out this like online survey, and it kind of gets some details about you, if you're a veteran, like who you are, what you need, you know, all that kind of stuff. Just kind of like a general questionnaire they fill out that gives us like an idea of who, you know, is interested in what their needs might be.
Yeah. So they don't have to have a four-wheeler themselves.
No, no.
All right. They don't have to have a tent.
Correct. Nope.
They don't have to have a sleeping bag.
Correct.
They don't have to have a sleeping pad.
Correct.
What do they need?
So, I mean,
want to go?
Just to show up.
They like,
they just want to go.
That sounds fun. I want to do that.
Yep.
How in the world are they going to find out about you? Other than this podcast.
We're pretty active on social media, Facebook, Instagram.
So you're intentionally trying to get onto sites that veterans that you know are very active with veterans,
right?
And then getting your stuff, kind of marketing what you're doing that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're just over a year into this, so there's baby steps to really being able to get out there. So we're working on it. So
yeah. So give me so you've done a few trips already with veterans.
Correct.
All right. So what's one of your highlight trips that you think of so far? How many veterans went on the trip? What happened? What did you see? You know,
last year we did that trip with Midland.
That's the one I was thinking of.
When I almost flipped my truck.
Yeah.
So we went to, was it Tuttle Creek? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tuttle Creek, which is out by Manhattan, Kansas. Is that right? Manhattan. Yeah.
Okay.
So Fort Riley. And one of our sponsors is Midland Radio Corporation.
Okay.
They're local here. They do two-way radios and stuff like that, GMRS. And so we invited them. And Andrew, I don't know his title, but he's a big wig at Midland. He invited his dad, who was a veteran. And then we also had Vinny and Ben from VCP, which is the Veterans Community Project.
Okay.
We had them come out. And then, do we have any more vets?
We had like 3 or 4 more.
Yeah, I can't even remember. Oh, and we had Alex Breeden. There's a couple other guys that we invited. Anyway, so there's 5, 6, 7 vets on this trip, right? So we went out to Tuttle Creek and did a day of off-roading and fed everybody burgers and just kind of hung out, relaxed, and yeah, it was fun.
Just did some wheeling.
Yeah,
this dude almost flipped his vehicle.
We just did some off-roading. We just went out and had a good time and played in the dirt and played in the mud and had fun.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's the exact story I was thinking of. So
yeah.
It's one of those things that not every trip has to look the same or be the same. So that was just a one day one-day trip out to Tuttle, but we had, I'd say, 7 vets there, and we fed them, hung out, got to hear the stories. Their families were invited, so they all brought their families and stuff, nice. And we just wheeled and hung out, and it was just fun hanging out and building relationships with people. So
cool. Yeah, cool. Have you done a long, like this 9-day trip?
That was for sure our longest since.
Was that a vet trip too?
So we didn't like take any vets with us, but we met a bunch of veterans down there in Padre. Okay. And that was cool. There's he does overland shark fishing, and it's like what he's dubbed his stuff. And he's a veteran, and we met up with him down there, and they caught a shark. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I think it was like a 9-foot lemon shark or something wild. I don't know. I've got it on video. It was crazy. Never seen that in my life growing up in the Midwest. Right. You know? So, and there was a handful of vets down there, and we just kind of hung out with them and shared our message. And it's not all the time you get to go travel halfway across the country, you know, down to Padre and go hang out with veterans and catch sharks and talk about your mission and just try to expand and, you know, hang out with people like that. It was really cool. But to answer your question about how many trips we do per year, so last year was kind of slow for us. It was our first year, and I think that was expected. But this year we're rolling out a lot of new stuff, a whole new program within what we're doing, and we've budgeted to take 28 veterans out on like 7 different trips. So we know that not 4 veterans are going to be available every trip, but we have the means this year to go on 7 big trips and take 4 veterans, you know, at maximum, you know, cap. So
cool. So these, how old, like how healthy does a guy need to be or gal need? Is it guys only? Guys,
no,
gals?
We've never actually talked about that.
Never even thought about it.
Okay. No, there's no
one way or the other.
Men or women. Right. It can be whatever.
All right. Yeah. And how fit, how healthy do they need to be? Just curious. I
think it's pretty general because I'm not the most fit guy in the world.
No, but I mean, like, you know, like if there's any kind of physical challenge that they're dealing with. I'm thinking like.
So we've had that question a couple of times.
He's 86. I doubt he'd go 4-wheeling.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's the thing.
I have a hard time getting him up in my Gladiator, you know. So.
Right. I think there definitely has to be. I think there has to be like, I don't know. So we don't have the means to like take somebody who's like fully disabled, like in a wheelchair. Like we don't have any, you know, wheelchair accessible vehicles, like just straight up. Yeah. There are programs and other organizations out there that, you know, have the means to do that. I think our kind of main focus is, I guess, without having really thought about it before, I guess our main focus would be like the guys who are like fresh out of the military within the last couple years to 10 years, you know, who want to get out and have some fun, but they don't have a 4Runner or a Jeep to do something in, you know, and or they want to go camping and they want to go fishing, but they don't have any of the equipment, and they're just kind of like looking for fun, like looking for an escape, you know. I don't necessarily think your 87-year-old dad might be, you know, like our, you know, target guy, you know, to go after. But I mean, Andrew's dad was, I don't want to age him, but I think he was probably 60 something, you know, and he had a blast.
Oh,
you
cool.
know, he had a ton of fun.
Man, 60 something like, old dude.
If you can physically handle it, I feel like then absolutely. But
yeah.
So we haven't really, you know, had to. That situation really hasn't come up yet.
Yeah, I guess not.
So I was just curious. Yeah. So so interesting. So I my brain is going crazy on this. Like good, in a good way. Just thinking all the things that could happen with this. I like the mission. I love the idea of adventure therapy.
Yeah, because I mean, this so much, you know, the world tells you, you know, with mental health issues.
Yeah,
not going down that road, but like, you know, you need to either be medicated or go to this place and be taken care of, but like it can, there's so many different ways to like help your own mental state, you know, by taking care of yourself or doing stuff that you can do to better yourself. So like I've always just enjoyed camping and just relaxing and hanging out with friends, and it brings that peace of mind that like is good. It's like a recharge for me. Like I go off grid, I'm recharged for the next,
for sure,
however long it lasts. And so like
I hear you.
Just want to, you know, share that.
Yeah, I've been doing this stuff a long time, but I've never done it with, you know, it's always just been me and a few friends typically, you know.
I mean, that's how it started with us.
But yeah, but I can see the benefit of getting people out. You know, I've got friends who do something similar with Urban Core kids who wouldn't have the means to get out and do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a buddy out in Colorado who takes vets hunting out near Steamboat Springs, and it's a big mission of his. Plus they work with Urban Core kids from Denver and get them out in the woods out there. You know, a guy I interviewed several months ago that attended my church way back is a guy named Andrew Potter. And he's the founder. He and his brother are the founders of ROKC here in town.
Is that the rock climbing?
Mm-hmm, yeah, rock climbing gym. Andrew is an Army Ranger, 2 tours in Afghanistan. I've done a podcast with him, and then I also did an event on shame, and had Andrew on my panel with that. And we had like 6 different people talking about shame and how that impacts, and he talked about it as an Army Ranger and how that tied into his PTSD stuff. And he'd be a great contact for you guys, because he started a nonprofit that is working with veterans. Be some cool networking
for sure
opportunities for you guys in this city. I think there'd be a lot of people wanting to get behind what you're doing as you keep unpacking this thing. I looked at your website. Tell us about some of the upcoming, because you said you got a pretty big schedule you're rolling out this year for 2022. I noticed you've got a few expos coming up.
Right.
What's an expo? Tell our audience that doesn't know what are you doing in expo? So an
expo is just like a trade show, I guess, is the best way to put it.
You shop, you spend money. Is what it is.
You just have all these vendors in a big facility, indoor, outdoor, whatever, and they just come and they can come into your booth and hang out with you guys, talk to you guys, figure out what you're selling or what you're doing or what your organization or business is about. For us, you know, we don't have like a storefront in there. We're just selling our mission essentially. So, you know,
but you get your vehicles out there, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's almost like a car show almost to some extent.
Yeah,
we'll
definitely.
A vehicle in a booth. And
yeah.
Like, hey, this kind of what we do.
Yeah.
Talk to people.
So you got a few of those lined up?
Yep. We've got 3 of them on the schedule this year.
Where do you do these?
Well, there's more expos in Springfield. I think is that next month? Oh my gosh. And then we have, that's in April. Sorry. We have 2 months. So we have more expo, and then we have the Big Iron Overland Rally. That's in June. And then we have Rendezvous in the Ozarks. That's in October. So those are the 3 ones.
Are these ones that you're sponsoring yourself?
No. So
you're joining in with
some
other. Okay.
Correct. So More Expo is the general expo itself. And then you have all these different vendors and companies and businesses that all.
So this is where you'll be showing up to do your stuff.
Correct.
All right. And then how many trips do you have on the schedule right now that guys and gals can jump into?
As of this very moment, we don't have anything. So our goal this month, we kind of talked about it because we're in slow season right now, with being winter, and you know. So our goal by the end of February is to have all of our trips lined out, planned at least a couple months in advance. You know, we can get 2 or 3 on the books now, and then as time progresses, we can get 2 or 3 more on the books. That way people can plan accordingly. So as of this very moment, we don't have anything on our website for upcoming trips. If it's just not on the website yet. We haven't ironed out all the details. There's 6 of us, you know, we all volunteer, so it's kind of hard with work schedules and stuff to kind of get everything coordinated, but we do our best, and we plan on having everything out by the end of this month, at least a couple months in advance.
Yeah. And so somebody wants to go, they're going to go apply at your website. Is there an application process?
In a sense, it's kind of a dumbed down application, really. It's just like a Google questionnaire that we've kind of set up. It gets some basic background information on the individual and what their kind of experience is, whether it's in like overlanding or camping or hunting or fishing. You just kind of learn a little bit about them to see who they are and like what their experience is. And then, yeah, I mean, it's just pretty basic. Then we just kind of look at them and review and see who we've got. And if we've got enough room, we'll just reach out via email or call or text or however they leave their contact information. Say, hey, we've got this, and this date. Are you available to come out? You can bring your family or whatever, XYZ. And just go from there.
Cool. So it's a family event.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Bring your dog, your mom, your dad.
It's more so if you don't, say, like, for example, you didn't have your Gladiator and you wanted to go off-road, we have an open seat. So I can't fit you, your wife, all your kids, and your dogs in my vehicle, per se. So, like, if you say you were like, hey, I want to go, and you have your own Gladiator, you can bring the whole crew along. But, like, we try to keep a passenger seat at least open to take the vets in. So if if you're coming with nothing, essentially, then, like, I can probably only take you this trip, and then maybe we can work into down the road taking more people and stuff like that. But so
what do you guys, what kind of help do you need? Like, I'm talking, like, if people wanted to help volunteer, like what would, as people are listening to this, maybe some people are going, God, I'd love my, like, they're thinking, man, I'd like my brother or my friend, or they know a veteran, or somebody might even think, man, I'd like to help out with that or whatever. Is there a plan for volunteers? How do people connect with you if they love to hear this mission? Well,
currently we don't have any sort of like volunteer program. It's just us on the team right now. And we're working on like managing that and getting the process like refined. Then maybe something we do in the future, it kind of expand out to like a public, volunteer thing. It's not something that we're doing now per se. I think the biggest way to help us would just be, go to our social media, follow us, stay tuned to what we're doing, stay in the know. And I think the very, very best way is just, if you know somebody, send them our way. Like, give us a referral, send them our website, send them our Instagram or something, like, get us in contact with that person and have them reach out, or say, hey, they're not wanting to reach out, but will you guys reach out? Just start a conversation with, with them. So
yeah,
I'd agree.
Cool.
And honestly, also, I'm just going to throw it out there. Networking. Like, for example, you said a couple people that would be good for us to network. So if you know somebody, hey, get us in contact. I've got a couple of. So just doing something like that could help too.
Good connections for you guys. Yeah. So I'm curious too, because I talk about spirituality adventures, and so as I think about spirituality adventures, I say spirituality is connection with self, others, and something greater than yourself. It's kind of a broad understanding of that. And then the adventure part for me is I just love adventures of all kinds.
Yeah.
And for me, everything's spiritual in some way or another. So, like, connecting people with nature for me is a huge spiritual thing. And then the adventure nature combination is like, to me, it's like church for me, I mean, I love, because I've been a pastor, so, but I remember having guys say, well, man, I don't need to go to church, I'm in my deer stand, or I'm out, fishing on my boat. That's my church, and I get it. Like, I agree, I meet God there too, right? In nature. And it's interesting to me, all the different kind of leaders, even in the Bible, and then if you even jump out into, some of the other faith traditions, almost all had some kind of experience in nature. I mean, you think about Moses, mountains and deserts, and you think about Jesus, he went to, the lake and the mountains and the desert, every leader, David was a shepherd, and out in nature. And so I think there's a huge connection to nature, to the earth, and to spirituality. And so that combination, I think, can be healing and therapeutic. So I love the idea of getting people into those kind of environments for therapy, for healing, for relationships.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
I agree. I think the relationship aspect's really big, really important on our end. Like, that's something we are gonna strive, because we don't want people to just come through and think, oh, I went out with Oscar Mike this weekend and had a great time. Like, we want it to be an experience that, like, we build that relationship where they're like, oh man, Dakota and Jordan did this, and then, like, to where they also spread it, but then, like, it's something that's stuck with them.
I think essentially we want to make it like a family kind of deal,
That brotherhood.
Yeah.
And I have a song for you based on what?
Oh, really?
Based on what you just said. So
really?
It's "Where I Find God" by Larry Fleet.
I don't know this one.
You definitely need to give it a listen.
Really?
Yep. It epitomizes exactly what you just said.
Serious?
Exactly. 100%.
Very cool. Larry Fleet.
Larry Fleet.
Okay. Country?
Oh, yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Like, almost like quoted what you just said. It's kind of weird.
Serious?
Yeah. It's really weird. Talking about, like, being in a deer stand and being
outdoors.
Yeah, 100%.
Excuse me. I just went on about a 40-mile bike ride before you guys showed up. And
like right before we showed up?
Bicycle ride.
Like literally like before we showed up.
Yeah. I got back and like my lungs are a little coffee from the bike ride, not from the cold or anything.
I'd be dead or not here even if I had to ride 40 miles on a bike. There's no way.
I did 5 minutes of the elliptical and PT the other day. Dead.
Well, I've been doing it for a while, so I like to hurt myself, get out there, knock it out a little bit. Yeah. So what's the spiritual component for this for you guys? What's your thought about that? Sounds like both of you have a sense of like a calling to this of some sort.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, like you said, it's the connection between people. You said adventure, and then higher than oneself, something like that. Is, I think for me, like I feel like my purpose behind this mission is to do those things. Is to connect to people and be a part of this mission, which is greater than my own self. I think that's pretty much where it's at for me, essentially.
I'd say for me, it's more in building those relationships that are just life-giving. Those relationships that aren't, that you enjoy that other person, hanging out with them and whatnot. So it's like I've always been called to lead, and I've always run from it most of my life. And so I felt like I felt like it would be easier for me to jump into leading and stuff like that when it's combined with something that I thoroughly enjoy. And so, doing with Oscar Mike, being able to help out and just build relationships with people and give back, and it's just something that I enjoy. I've been a missionary since I was 11 years old. So giving back is something that fills me.
Yeah.
So
what does that mean? You've been a missionary since you were 11 years old. What does that mean?
So, well, I didn't go live in Africa for the last 6 years of my life, but like every year my church, we went to Jamaica and we built homes and stuff at the Harmony House. And so I just like missions work, serving and stuff like that is always, I've been called to do that. And so,
okay.
Part of the reason I went into did YWAM and stuff, and so
yeah. Tell our audience a little bit about that. I think that's cool.
Oh, YWAM?
Yeah. Because so from 11 you started going on mission trips with your family.
Yeah.
So it kind of put into you this sense of like bringing God's love to people.
Yeah.
In situations that are less fortunate.
Less fortunate. Whatever. So, growing up in the foster system, I was very much less fortunate. And I just, once I was adopted, I was very much always trying to look out for people so they didn't have to endure the things that I've gone through. And my parents sent me on a mission trip to Jamaica, and I always was mad at the world because I was upset as why did I have to endure the things that I've gone through? The things that I've gone through, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And when you go to the third world country and see what they're enduring, it really humbles you. It makes you realize you might not have eaten, on Monday, but you ate Tuesday. And it's good. These people haven't eaten in a week or don't have running water and things like that. And it humbled me and made me I had that desire to help them. And so I did my first mission trip and I came back and I was just it felt good to help somebody less fortunate than me. And not only in you see a homeless person, you give them money or something like that. It was much deeper than that. It was it pleased my soul. And I knew that God had put me in a spot to utilize me. And and every time I did that, I always built a relationship that lasted till the next year that I went back. And so building that relationship, that's why I say building relationships is big to me. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just instilled in me to give and to help.
I think I think there's something in everybody, if they get in touch with it, that's a God thing to do something big, to connect and serve beyond yourself. Life isn't just about you. God didn't just put you here for yourself, And so I love the mission that you guys have. I love the passion of reaching out to a community in America that can and helping them connect with nature, helping them connect relationally, building those relationships, and also helping to connect to nature. And that, to me, it's a great mission. It has all kinds of spirituality connected to it, and it can be healing, for people. Yeah, and so I really love that. Speaking of healing, Jordan, for those that are listening, you don't see Jordan, but he's here with a little bit of bandages on his right hand here. So tell us what went down on this injury. I was feeling a little sorry for myself here recently because I crashed on my mountain bike 2 weeks ago, tore my shoulder up. Same shoulder that I broke my collarbone. So my audience would know this about a year and a half ago from a bicycle accident. Now I don't know what I've done. I might have to have surgery on it. But then you walk in and I hear this story and I'm like, holy crap, Man,
Yeah,
you really went
so-
through the ringer on this thing.
6 days before my birthday in October, I was riding my motorcycle, and I was rear-ended going 45 miles an hour. And
Here in Kansas City, like on a highway or something like that?
yeah, on 350
Okay.
in Raytown. And I don't remember any of it. I woke up in a hospital one day, but I separated the front of my pelvis and broke my sacrum, and then I separated my iliac crest from my sacrum as well. So I've got a plate and 4 screws up front. I've got a bolt on the side, and then I dislocated one of the many bones in my wrist, and last Friday I just had it reconstructed. So
And you were out of it for a while. You don't really remember the first.
happened on a Sunday.
4.
I don't remember anything until the Thursday after.
Wow.
My wife and my mother said I was 10-second Tom for the first couple of days. So
Wow. So God's still got something for you, right?
absolutely.
Wow. Well, I pray God's healing upon you, that you fully recover from all this. You just now walking.
Yeah, about a month ago I started walking.
Wow.
So
Man. Well, glad you're on the mend and healing up. So
yeah,
Back on the move.
God has shown his mercy.
that's good.
So
That's good. Well, great. So what would you like to share with our audience before we close? Like, is there any leadership thoughts that you have? Anything that you'd like them to leave with them before we close this thing out?
I think the thing that I would be most appreciative of is if just go to our website, give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram. The more people that we're able to connect with and reach, and establish a connection with, the more people that we reach, for a mission. Because if you follow and then your brother follows and then his, sister or cousin, and there's better and better and better and better, there's all this potential. So I think just following us and staying in tune, stay tuned to our events. And if you see an event that you might be able to attend, if you're a veteran, or if you know a veteran or know a veteran who knows a guy who knows a guy, et cetera, just have them reach out or send them our way or send us their way.
Yeah.
just help spread the word.
Yeah, spread the word. Word of mouth is the absolute best thing for us, for sure.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us at Spirituality Adventures. Thanks for the work that you're doing, and I'm looking forward to staying connected to Oscar, Mike. I might have to get my my Gladiator out on one of these trips to you guys.
Hey man, we can show you what we did.
Yeah, I'll probably tear myself up though. Like, I'm not very good.
You're right. We got a couple pretty boys.
He's got a long bed Tacoma. So
we got a couple pretty boys in our group that don't like to wheel either.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
don't really want to turn mine over on the side, like,
Well, you and I have a long bed Tacoma, so we're fine. We got the
Yeah,
wheelbase.
you guys are like the same length and wheelbase.
We just have to watch it turning around the trees. That's all we got to worry about.
I know. Yeah.
So,
But anyway, well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, to Spirituality Adventures, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for you guys joining us. I appreciate
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate
Yes.
your work.
so
Appreciate you having us.
See you next time. This concludes today's episode. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember to like, share, or subscribe to the social media platform that you're using. And then go to our website, spiritualityadventures.com, and make a one-time donation, or you can subscribe monthly and receive our special bonus content. Thanks so much.